Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Psychic Medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello and welcome to this week's podcast, Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm Carrie Muggs. I'm a professional psychic medium, and mostly this podcast is to help you to, bring up spiritual topics, to help me bring up spiritual topics for you and let you know what I know about them and what I've researched about them, but mostly my experience with them because everybody's different, and so you just take what resonates with you and move on to what doesn't, or move on to what does resonate with you and what doesn't. So this week we're going to talk about, this is question and answers. This is question and answer week. So I got a few questions in that we're going to go over, but I wanted to kind of talk about too. This is the month of February. Yesterday was February 2nd, 2022. And this is a huge, huge manifesting gateway now until February 22nd of 2022. So manifesting, meditation, all the things. It's going to be like a higher frequency, which is kind of cool because we've been going through so much kind of crap the last couple of years, or solitude, or, kind of a low. And so this is going to be a good kind of raise. And, this week's Carrie Connects was about abundance, overflowing abundance. And I really believe it's because this manifestation portal is here. And I didn't even realize when I pulled the card for Monday, it didn't even dawn on me that 2/2/2/22 was coming up. It did because I have a grandbaby whose birthday is yesterday, but it didn't hit me all the magical. And I'm such a numerology person. I'm such a, I don't dig really deep into it, but that's kind of how I communicate sometimes, because let's face it, sometimes when you just see feathers and dimes and all this stuff around that spirit shows us, it's great, but I love the communication part. And sometimes numbers, when you're kind of off and you're not meditating, sometimes numbers will bring through some pretty fast messages. So I love the numerology part of spiritual communication. So now this week we're going to talk about questions and answers, but I'm trying to think of things that I have coming up. I do have a mediumship class on February 26th. You can find it on my website. I just hate to say anything about it really because I think there's only one spot left. But if there's only one spot left, please know I'm going to do another one probably in March because there's such a high demand for it. So just know if you don't get into this one, there'll be one coming up. And I have some cool things coming. I'm working on a meditation workbook and a meditation challenge, and also some questions about what's coming up this year. So I'll just kind of wait and see when we get to that. So now, our first question that I'm going to talk about since this month for the Spunky Tribe, is about meditation. The first question I'm going to read is going to be about meditation. So this comes from one of my listeners. When I meditate, I often get signs, symbols, and faces that come in. I want to remember them all, so often find myself interrupting my meditation to draw things out, but then I struggle to get back into the meditation the longer I'm drawing. If I try to wait until the end of the meditation to draw, I find myself trying to remember symbols, and I start to forget things. I love to draw everything out because it connects me, but it seems chaotic at times. Do you have any suggestions on either getting back into meditative state or easily way of calming the chaos during my meditation? So this one's kind of hard, but I know that we want to remember all the things during meditation. I know that when we do meditate and we have these really cool experiences, we want to remember them. And so but it's going to be almost impossible to do that if you meditate and then stop in the middle and take notes, and then meditate, stop in the middle and take notes. That's the whole point of meditation, is just to let things happen. Just live in the now, let things happen. Meditation teaches you how to live in the now. So if you're like meditating and you have these signs and symbols and you're like, oh, I want to write those down. Oh, it'll kick you out of meditative state. So here's the thing too. There's a lot of stuff that happens in meditation that, afterwards, they're kind of like dreams. You will remember them throughout the day maybe, or kind of things like that. But when you meditate, just let it happen. Just let it happen. Let it flow. Don't be like, oh, I've got to write that down, or, oh, I've got to draw that. Just let it happen and let it flow. And try to stay focused on what's going on, because the symbols could mean something together. Just kind of like when I read oracle cards or tarot cards. Together they have meaning. So if I see one card or if I see one symbol, it could be like, okay, that's cool. But if you continue the process, when you add the other cards or you add the other symbols, it tells a story. So my suggestion, and you can do what's best for you, but my suggestion is to just not worry about writing it or taking notes. This is why I record my readings, because sometimes I don't want the person to have to hurry and write all these notes down. I want them to enjoy the reading, enjoy the now. And that's okay if you're a note taker and you're a person that has to do that. But really try and focus on the now. Really try and focus on the messages coming through at the time. And then at the end of your meditation, start to journal it. And I promise you, when you start to journal it and you start to do automatic writing at the end of the meditation, some of most of those symbols will come back to you, especially if there's something that you need to remember, or something that is a message that Spirit's trying to bring through. So that is my advice. Meditation is hard anyways, and if you're always cutting it close, it's really hard to see something and then hurry and get out of it, take notes, and then try and get back in. My suggestion would be to go through the whole thing and then try and process at the end. What you could do is you could record the meditation, and the signs and symbols that you see, you could maybe, voice them while you're meditating, but still that might take you out of meditation. But try and practice, see what works for you. But really, getting in and out of meditation probably isn't the best answer. So I would wait till the end and journal those things, and you'll remember the things that you're supposed to. But you have to do it right after. You can't, it's like dream journals. You can't think, which I highly recommend everybody have, just a little journal by their bed, because that's when Spirit tries to talk to us too. When you wake up first thing in the morning, you journal then. Or no. Right after you have the dream, you dream journal then, because you think you're going to remember it, but you don't. And so that would be my recommendation. Let me know if that helps or if you have any other questions. So the next question, what are the best tools for the ascension process? So this is spiritual growth. This is the awakening. This is when your spirit's kind of trying to go to a higher level, or when you're starting to have spiritual growth. Shadow work belongs in here too. And also too, it kind of goes with how to get unstuck during ascension. Spiritual growth and awakenings are hard, and they're not easy peasy lemon squeezy. They're not rainbows and roses. They can be hard, and there's a lot of shadow work that goes with them. And shadow work is just triggers and things that make you upset, or things that I don't know. I think I've explained this in shadow work in my podcast, in one of the past podcasts. But to do ascension or to do spiritual growth, you got to tap into shadow work, which is things that have happened in your life, things that you haven't processed, things that are triggering you, things that you kind of buried. And so it's not going to be super easy. Spiritual growth is not easy. And I remember one time I posted something about spiritual growth a really long time ago. And I had somebody post or comment underneath that says, well, that was your choice. Your choice is to make it hard. And I believe that to an extent, but not really. I think spiritual growth is hard. And I don't think you can, if you smile through it and pretend it's not happening, or you smile through it and pretend that everything's great, that's toxic positivity to me. That's like just trying to be like, oh, that doesn't matter. That's my choice is to make it good, which I think that your reaction and I think that your outlook and your attitude can make it better, but I don't think that there is spiritual growth. I think if you pretend that it's all easy and rainbows and roses, I think that there's a lot of toxic positivity going on. That doesn't mean that you have to make it terrible, and you have to remember it's a growing process. It's an experience. It's not pass or fail. It's just an experience, and it helps you to figure yourself out more, figure you more. And so during the ascension process, to make it go, the tools that you need, honestly, are anything that promotes you taking care of you putting you first. Now, obviously, this is hard if you have kids, but at the same time, you've got to schedule time for you, time for your self-care, time for you, because that will be so some of the tools that you would use is honestly whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you joy. So if yoga brings you joy, that would be a tool. Everybody's tools are going to be different. If journaling makes you happy, that would be a tool. If being in nature or taking walks makes you happy, that would be your tool. If you're an artist or you love to draw, that would be your tool. So the tools to help with your ascension, with your growth, your spiritual growth, your ascension process, are the tools that make you happy, the tools that bring you joy, the things in your life that bring you closeness to spirit, which meditation also too. Like if your family, connection to your family, those things, relax time. It's not all about hustling all the time. It's, we're trying to not focus on the hustle anymore. We're trying to, heal the hustle. It's about letting it come naturally. And that is what I want you to know too about spiritual growth. It doesn't come on your timing. It's all Spirit's timing. It happens, the growth and the aha moments and all the things happen on Spirit's timing. I cannot stress that enough, because you're not the only one involved. There's other people involved, believe it or not, in your spiritual growth. And also, if you know information before you're ready, or if you try and figure out information before you're ready, or if you try and reach a certain spiritual time when you're ready, it could be harder, a lot harder. And if you reach that time when you're not ready, it could cause depression. It could cause sickness. It can cause illness. So just enjoy the journey. Just let it happen when it's supposed to. There are so many times when I was like, okay, can we just get past this part? Especially when I was trying to build confidence in my gift. There was lots of growth in there, and lots of, why can't we just get over this thing already? Why the anxiety. I had anxiety when I was trying to do this professionally right at first, and it would sometimes overwhelm me, and I'd be like, why can't I just get past this part? Why can't it just be done? And I realized it was because there was a lot of different things in place that needed to happen before I could get there. So the tools that I used were meditation and reading. I love to read, so I would read and read and read and read all the time. That was one of my tools to help me get past. And also too, this goes with getting unstuck. When you feel like you're stuck, you're really not. You're kind of where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you are supposed to be right now. And that doesn't mean that you just sit and let it happen. You can't. It's kind of it's hard because yes, you kind of sit in the boat and you relax. You stop pedaling upstream. You just kind of take the oars and you steer where you're supposed to go. So as long as you're still steering where you're supposed to go and you're adding the tools to your box, to your toolbox, you're not really stuck. Even though you feel like you are, I promise you're not. As long as you're doing the things that help you grow and help you stay happy and help you take care of you, and you're doing those things, then you're not really stuck. It's kind of like, always I bring this example in. When you ask Spirit to help you find your keys, you lose your keys and you ask Spirit to help you find your keys, you don't just sit on the couch and be like, okay, help me find my keys. You ask Spirit to help you find your keys, and then you actively look for them, because that's when Spirit can whisper in your ear or move the keys, or you can have an idea of where the keys are. So same with being unstuck. As long as, if you just be like, okay, I want to not be stuck anymore, but then you don't do anything to progress or try and better yourself or trying to or take care of yourself or do self-care or love yourself, then that's when you can get stuck, when you're just in that victimhood. And I'm not saying that anybody's in their victimhood, but when you just don't want to progress. And sometimes that's okay too, because sometimes we just want to. You know how many days I've got out of bed and I just thought, okay, Spirit, I don't want to learn anything today. I just want to watch TV. I want to watch mind-numbing TV that's stupid, and I don't want to learn anything today. And so that could be it too. But to get unstuck, as long as you're using your tools and taking care of yourself and doing self-care and building boundaries and telling people no and only doing what you have the ability or the capability of doing, and loving yourself. And I know that that's so cliche, but loving yourself is putting yourself first. My daughter was listening to this song. There's a song that I grew up to called they sing Vacation, and they sing oh my gosh, I don't even want to sing it to you, but oh gosh, I don't even remember her name, but there was a song, Ooh Baby, There's a Place on Earth, Heaven is a Place on Earth. They've rechanged the song, they've remade it, and they said, I know it's going to hurt, but I've got to take care of me first. And that just resonated with me too, because you feel like it's going to hurt other people, especially if you're a people pleaser. You feel like it's going to hurt other people or offend them. But in honesty, you've got to take care of yourself first. You got to love yourself first, take care of yourself first, because if you don't, you can't take care of others, and you get overwhelmed, and I learned that firsthand this summer. So, and people pleasers like me, when, my people pleasing days, you feel like it's who you are when you do this. And I'm so getting off on a tangent, but you've got to take care of you first, because you can't take care of others, and you can't grow if you're not loving who you are. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. Obviously, the tools are, my huge ones were meditation, journaling, and reading. Yours might be completely different. Yours might be yoga, walks in nature, which was one of mine too, or exercise. Everybody has different tools to help through their spiritual growth process. It was whatever that helps you connect to you and love who you are, because that's the whole spiritual growth, is to love who you are unconditionally. Us growing spiritually has to do with us loving us, and it's not selfish and it's not narcissistic. It's just loving us. It's loving us for who we are, no matter what other people think of us. It's not us thinking we're awesome. I mean, yes, we can think we're awesome. It's not us thinking we're better than other people, or we are, it's not an ego trip. It's just us being comfortable with who we are, comfortable where we're at, and loving who we are regardless. And that's that's being unstuck too. So if there's a stuckness still, then there's still something that is triggering you or unprocessed, or it could just be a low time when it's just time to rest and pull the oars into the boat and let spirit take it downstream. I always say, if you've done the work and if you've worked hard and you're tired, pull in those oars and let spirit guide. And that's going to be some unstuckness too, help you get unstuck. So, the next question is there a difference on how well video or phone readings go versus in person? I would like to say no. I did have, out of all of the readings I've ever done, I did have one person say it is a little different over the phone. And I think that was my fault, because I think that was during the time when I was nervous, and during the time that if I would I would get nervous about doing second readings or third readings, because in my mind I would be like, what if it doesn't match? I didn't surrender to spirit. I didn't surrender and let spirit take care. I didn't pull the oars in the boat and let spirit guide. I wanted to guide the boat during these readings, because I thought, oh my gosh, if they've already come before, what if what comes through contradicts what was last time? And so I would get nervous about second and third readings. I don't anymore. I know that they're always going to work out. I know that they're not going to contradict, because they can't, because it's spirits talking. It's not me. I'm just a tool for them to use. So during the readings, I pull in the oars and I go down. Now, is there a different feeling sometimes when they're in person? The energy in my office is a little different. Is the energy, you can feel the energy, like you can feel I don't know how to explain it. Some people say that they can feel the spirits come in, or they can feel it feels different. But honestly, I've had people over the phone say the same thing. So I guess it's just where you're at spiritually, or how open you are. Because the readings in the videos and in the phone are just as accurate. They're just as accurate as readings in person. And also too, when I do readings over the phone, the spirit, they always say that they're at a frequency. It's like a radio station that we both can tune into, and we're both tuned into that radio station. So they're there with you, and they're with me. And the cool thing is sometimes they'll even start to try and tell me if the spirit's speaks clairvoyantly, and that's their communication. They'll try and tell me what's around you while we're on the phone, or they'll try and show me what's around you to let you know that they're with you. So maybe in the past, the phones and the not first time phone ones, but I guess it was not even really the phone. It was just like second or third readings that you would get. But now I'm past that, and so it doesn't matter anymore. So no, I would say that the readings over the phone and the video are just as accurate, just as feel good, just as awesome as the ones in person. It is kind of cool to, I've had people say, just the energy of my office is good, but that's just because I clear the energy, or I sage, or Palo Santo. So if you were to do that before a reading, you'd probably get the same. I think they are the same. To me, they feel the same, but I've had clients say they're exactly the same, or their phone ones are better. I've had clients who do personal ones, and then they actually started doing phone ones, and they like the phone ones better because they don't have to travel to come to my office. So to me, there is no difference. To me, they're all accurate. They all feel the same. To my clients, some like them better in person, some like them over the phone. And I've only ever had that one client say, I liked the one in person better. And that was my fault probably, because that's back when, again, like I said, when I was struggling doing second or third readings, but I don't anymore because I just give it to spirit. So I think it's just your own personal preference. It's not about, they're just as accurate. They're just as feel good. They're just as awesome as in person as they are on the phone. I think it's just your personal preference. So you could try one, see if you like it, try the other. To me, they're the same. They're just as accurate. So I don't feel any different during a phone reading than I do in person. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. The next question, when are you going to have a spiritual retreat? This has been on my to-do list, one of my goals forever, probably for about 3 or 4 years. Here's my catch, or here's my thing. I don't know what you guys would want in it. So I picture very relaxing, and I can't decide too. I can't decide if I'm going to do a grief retreat where people who are grieving for their lost loved ones and help them process that grief or help them deal with that grief, or if I'm going to do like a spiritual retreat where people come and where they connect to spirit. I probably will end up doing both eventually. So honestly, the thing is now a grief retreat, I would know to bring in some certified counselors and some grief tools and just relax and have very open, safe place to grieve and talk about those things. So I kind of know what I would do for a grief one. Now the spiritual one, what kind of things would you want? Do you want to learn about connection? Do you want yoga? I know that it would be a fun, probably outdoorsy nature kind of thing. I know that there would be, we would stay in a nice cabin, but we would also have nature around us and do fun things. Because I see all these other retreats and they're like lessons after lessons after lessons. I kind of, when I go to retreat, I love the lessons, and I love like the TED Talks, or the here's how you do this, or here's how you do this. But I also like the fun. I like maybe, hiking or razor riding or any of those types of things. So I would love it if those of you who are interested in a spiritual retreat, I don't want to spend the whole time just teaching or I do want to spend some of the time bringing in speakers, maybe doing yoga, but not everybody loves yoga either. So that's like, what do you do, right? Like you you could just do a stretching thing. I don't know. So I'm just open to whatever you guys would want to do for a spiritual retreat. So any ideas that you have for a spiritual retreat. My goal is to have one at the end of this summer, the beginning of fall. So I got to start working on that because I got to find a place. But I would also love it if, you guys sent me ideas of what an awesome retreat would look like to you, and what you would learn, and what those things were, and how much, downtime you would want to relax, and how much you would want to learn. And to me, it's all about spirit communication, how to learn how to communicate with spirit, or how to connect with spirit, or honestly, how to, like we just talked about with spiritual growth and awakenings, learn the whole journey, or the whole purpose about this spiritual growth and awakening is to love yourself unconditionally. Love yourself no matter what. Love your body, love your mind, love the past, love all of it. And so that's what I would love to do. So if you have any ideas about spiritual retreats, please DM me at, my Instagram is at Carrie Muggs. My Facebook is Spunky Spirit. And I also have a Spunky Tribe on Facebook that is always listed in the notes of my podcasts. So I would really enjoy that. I also would love it if you guys would subscribe or download, because I'm trying to do some spiritual growth, and I'm trying to make things more accessible for people, because I am booked out, and of course the people pleaser in me feels bad about that. But honestly, I've said this time and time again, I can only do 3 readings a day. And if I do more than that, it's not fair to the 4th reading, because even though some people might think it's good, it's not up to my standards. And so, I want to be able to have people learn or have more access. And because I can't just do it through readings anymore, because I'm getting booked out. So I am doing group readings too. So if you have questions about those, probably like 1 or 2 a month, but it has to be bigger groups than 5 and no bigger than 12. And I will start making events where, I create an event and people can come. These are going to be bigger, so not everyone's guaranteed a reading, but it's not as expensive to come either. So watch for those things. But if you have any ideas, let me know. And I think that's it. That's what's coming up. That's awesome. And also too, I think when I was doing my membership, we did this thing called Coffee with Carrie, and every other week we would have an hour and people could just ask me questions. And I think that the podcast is good, but I think people asking questions on the podcast is good, but I think people liked the questions Coffee with Carrie, because they liked to also offer up their own opinions or their own answers, or they liked that connection. They liked the group. They liked being connected to other people. So I am going to figure out how to do a Coffee with Carrie 2. Lots coming up, but I think that we will maybe have it be like a webinar kind of thing where people can talk or ask questions. And then also too, but it will probably cost like maybe $2 to join. And so that way it's not all. And I think Instagram is coming up with subscription stuff like that. So that might wait until then. But believe me, I promise you, I'm working on this stuff, because I know that there's more people out there that want to learn how to do this, or want spiritual communication. And I get that. And I can't just always do it through readings. So and more classes are coming up. So watch for those things, and just know that I love you guys so much. I really honestly couldn't do this without you. I never in a million years thought that I would be booked out for 4 or 5 months and have the following that I do now. And I'm so grateful, so grateful for that, because I love you guys so much. And as much as I love you and I want to help you, that's why I'm trying to come up with these different ways that I can, because you can only do so many readings in a day, right? So anyways, I love you guys so much. And if you have any ideas for me, please let me know. My email is Carrie, Cari, at carriemuggs.com, CARIMUGZ.com. Okay, that's it for this month's questions and answers. And I will see you guys. I'll talk to you guys next week.